Hi everybody, welcome back to our tiny project album. Today we're going to finish everything. So we're going to start though with the inside covers. And if you're just joining this project, we are using scraps left over from the Stamperia Forest album to make these two tiny little albums. And we're just about done, but we just have a little bit left to do. I'm going to set the big one aside for a minute. Let's pull the tiny one over. Big one, right, it's 3 inches. The larger one, let's call it. Okay. So what I've decided, let's go over here, is, I don't know what that's doing there, hang on. I'm going to put a vertical belly band on the inside front cover because I do like belly band in a project and we didn't put one in. So we're going to do a belly band there and then we're going to do a pocket on the inside back cover. So for the tiny album, you need a piece 5/8 by 3. And you're going to put the 3-inch side along the top of your scoreboard. I need a scoring tool. Okay. And this you're going to score at 1/4 of an inch. Rotate and score at 1/4 of an inch. Okay. That's going to be your belly band. And then for the pocket on the back, you need a piece 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. You want to score both of the short ends and one of the long at 1/4 inch. When an album's this small, I like to use 1/4 inch for these. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go ahead and do for the same for the larger, just different sizes, and these we're going to score at 1/2 inch. This one is 1 inch by 4 1/4, and we're going to score each end at 1/2 inch. And the pocket is 1 3/4 by 4 1/4, and again these are going to be 1/2 inch scores, both short ends and one long end. Set that aside. Okay. All right. And you do not need to trim any corners for this belly band. It's hard to fold over sometimes these little 1/4 inch bits. So what I'm going to do is fold over the top one and then do a little dry fit. Oh, that's way off. I don't know if you can see, my score line is way off. I don't know what I was doing. Obviously I've got my measurement off. So I'm going to score this one at 1/2 and then I'll trim it. And I'll give you a corrected measurement. Right, now, you know what it is, I think I didn't take into account, once again, that I had trimmed, that this is not a square. Okay, so you want your belly band to be, for the tiny album, 2 3/4 inches long, not 3. Okay. How does that look? All right, now it looks short. Okay, I am losing my mind, people. I may have to start this video all over again. Okay, you saw me do that, right? I've got another one here I can use. All right, let's measure again. This cover is 2 3/8. So that should be 2 3/4. This one is 3. I am going to do, because I don't want to risk not having a piece, is I'm going to cut this, and I'm just going to sort of play with these score lines to get them to fit. I don't know what's going on with this teeny one, but it's not cooperating with me. Alright, well, that's correct, so I must have done something wrong on the other one. Alright, so 2 3/4 scored at 1/4 inch on each end. I did mine 1/2 inch on one end in case I needed to make any adjustments, since I seem to have messed up the first time. Well, that's good. Alright, and what I'm going to do, because this is scrap that I just picked up to check for size, it's actually a little wider than I want, so I am going to trim it down just a little bit. See, how wide is this? That's 3/4, and I really want it more like 5/8. Hi, Jolly, what's the matter? Hit my arm, baby girl. Okay. Oh. Hi. Good morning. How are you? There you go. Okay. All right. Now. All right. So I'm going to use. Sorry, it's first thing in the morning. Got the heat on in the house, which I hate. But it is 34 degrees out here in Florida, so I had to have the heat on. We don't really have heat. They're more like heat pumps that are attached to our air conditioning. But it works. It makes the house dry, though. Okay. So I am using, normally I use, well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I use score tape, sometimes I use glue, but I'm going to use glue for this. I just think, especially in case of a belly band, I like the flexibility that glue gives me to play with the placement a little. There we go, that looks good. We're going to use glue for that pocket too, though, because I just don't feel like getting out the tape. Okay, there we go. Let's see how that looks. Oh. Alright, good. Alright, so there's our little belly band. It'll look better when we get it matted, of course. Just going to slide it over a little bit at the bottom. There we go. Alright, now the pocket. We are going to trim out the corners. And we're going to trim an angle on these top edges here on the tabs. Go. The insides in. And before I fold in that second side, test fit. Looks good. There. I was just wondering if I wanted to put it there. Side pockets are always a nice thing to have. Let me see. I think I'll put it on the bottom. It fits a little bit because that's where I measured. Alright, so I'm just going to put a little dab of glue there and there. Don't need much glue for 1/4 inch tabs. I feel like my lights are not very good today. I feel like I've got some shadows. I wonder if they've moved and they're not in the right spot. Need to play with those a little bit. There we go. Okay, we'll get back to matting that. And let's do the other one. I don't have a lot of time this morning because I have an errand that I have to run. So I have an errand to run in less than an hour, but if I have to leave before I finished, I will probably have time before I have to go to work. So we should still be able to finish. Well, either way, it's going to finish in this video for you. It just may be split time for me. All right, this one looks good. So whatever measuring debacle I had on the other one seems to be fine on this one. Okay. And that is going to go like that. Of course, you can make horizontal belly bands if you prefer, but I wanted vertical. Now this one has the 1/2 inch tabs. We could actually trim them down if we want. I may trim that lower one. It'll be fine. I always worry this is just going to cause problems putting things in and out of the pocket. But with such a short pocket, you can kind of manipulate easier to get things in and out of it. Yeah, that's going to be good. Alright, so in this case we want, you always want the side tabs to be in first and then the bottom tab, because that helps with that situation I was just talking about. It's easier to prevent that bottom tab from blocking things that you're putting in and out. So I'm just burnishing that down, make sure it stays stuck. And then we're going to add glue. And I got some new paper today, so I'm going to do a haul. Also want to record a haul today, so hopefully you'll be seeing that. Actually, you probably will have seen that before you see this, but I'm not sure. Okay. All right, again, I got to do something about my light situation, that I have these shadows. Of course, maybe that's just my eyes. And I don't see very well, as we all know. Which, if you don't see very well, hopefully you see you can still make albums, even if you can't see very well. There we go. All right. Now, what time is it? Okay, I've got a little bit of time. All right. I am going to pick out these mats. And so I need, let's see, we need a full mat for the inside front covers, and then we need small mats for the front of the belly band, the front of the pocket, and then sort of a medium-sized mat for here. And we really don't have much in the way of scraps left, so we're going to have to go with what we've got. So you can't use that, it's got a part of a squirrel on it. You know what? Now we have this piece right here with this tree on it. That would look really nice on that belly band. Okay, so I think that's probably going to be that. And if I don't want, I've got my little scraps. I'm going to pull those back over. Let's see what we've got. This is cute. Might look good on the front of one of the pockets. It's too small for that pocket. Oh, it's too small for that one too. Okay, let's see. We have this sheet, which I'm sure I'll cut for something. Let's see, we have this piece. Oh, I like that a lot. We definitely want to use this. Let's see. It's too small for there, but it would work there. I don't want to put it there. You know what? I think I want to put it there in this pocket. Okay, so that piece is going to go for there. These pieces, let's see, might be, that belly band is tiny, so if I could pick them up. Okay. That's kind of cute with the little dashed line on it. Let's see, or we have this piece with the kind of scrappy look, which I like. Might make more sense than that. Okay, so that'll be the belly band piece for there. And let's see. We have this piece. This looks too small for that. It is. Alright, I'm thinking we're going to end up using, let's see, that's on, this is going to be on the inside of the pocket. We could put this on the outside of the pocket and just carry the pattern on, or I could just flip it over. Okay, so I think that's what we're going to do for this tiny one. Just cut everything. And let's see, for this one, check, I'm looking for more scraps. Okay, I'm back. Now, I was cutting that. I don't know how much you saw because I turned off the camera while I chose mats, and then I forgot to turn it back on again. So, what happened is I found and I knew I had it, but I hadn't been able to find it. Hang on, a stack of my scraps, more scraps. So I used some of those in the mats, and I cut them and put them in, not realizing that I wasn't recording. So let me show you that. So on the inside front cover, I put this berry with the bark, and the mat for the berries, well, you'll have to measure your own, but it's 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 and 3 1/8 by, looks like 7/8 for these two. This is in the 3-inch book. And then in the back, I use the exact same mats. One on the front of the pocket, that's 3 1/8 by 1 1/8, and then this is 3 1/8 by 2 and probably a half. Okay, so there's that. And then I also cut the 3 side pocket inserts, and I didn't do anything to them, I just cut them. That's about when I realized I wasn't recording. And these are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. My goodness, Jolly just landed with a thud. Okay, so that's that one. And then this little guy, I used the piece that I had showed you, I think, earlier. And then this one, again, you're going to have to measure your own book to get the exact measurements because they'll vary, but it's 2 1/4 by 2 1/8. Remember, this one is narrower than it is tall. And a 1/2 inch by 2 1/4. And then in the back, I have these two, and this is 2 1/8 by probably about 1 and about 1 1/2, a little over. And then this is 2 1/8 by, should be 7/8. Mine's a little fat. I had a hard time cutting something that small. And then the side pocket inserts, you need 3 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So that's everything I did without you, which is almost everything. Sorry about that. Okay, so the only thing left to do at this point, if you want to decorate or round the corners of your side pocket inserts, you can. I probably will round mine. But we might want to make a little tag or something to go in here. Now I have, hang on a sec. And I had to take off my sweater because I was so hot in this house. It's freezing outside, but for Florida, the wind chill's about 32, I think, 34. The wind chill overnight was in the 20s. Anyway, so I have this set of dies. I don't think any of them. Well, that one could be small enough if we just cut it. The only thing is, of course, you don't have these, so. But I can. Do I even want? I'm not going to bother. You don't have them, maybe, and I'd have to figure out mats. I think it'd just be easier to make them from scratch. I like them, don't get me wrong, but I just don't, and I don't even know where I got them. Looks like I might have got them from that Chinese website. Okay, so instead, let's just do something from scratch. All right, so if we want to put something in this belly band, I would say 1 3/4. Hey, Jolly. 1 3/4. Maybe by 1 1/2. I have my script. I don't know if you can hear it. It's ironic that I have named my cat the Quiet Cat, and I have her. But she is not actually the cat that this is named after. My channel is named after my previous cat, who was mute. He really was the Quiet Cat. All right, so I'm just going to cut a little piece here. All right, so that could go in there. We'll decorate. That's good. And then here we don't really need anything. I did find this little thing, but I think it's too big for this book, but maybe we'll use it there. We don't need anything there. We do need some in here. So maybe 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. I think this is 1 1/2, right? No, this is 1 3/4. No, that's 1 1/2. Okay, so 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Go there. And maybe do something more tag-like, because I have this piece left over from cutting that. That could be a tag. So that's 1 by 1 1/2. So let's just put that in there too, and that'll become a tag. And this is 1 1/2. So let's do same thing on the other side. 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. In there. See, I think those are the only, well, I have pockets back here, but I'm going to cut this 1. So 1 1/2 by 1 for a tag. Generally, even on a big album, this is kind of how I do it. I'll just go through and cut myself some shapes, and then I'll make them into things. All right, so then back here, let's cut a piece. All right, so 1 3/4. 1 3/4. So I'm going to cut a piece 1 3/4 by 3. All right, so let's go 1 3/4 by 3. And then we're going to fold it in half. And I'm not scoring it or anything, I'm just eyeballing it, getting my corners lined up. Okay, and that'll give us a little booklet to go in there. That's cute. And let's do another tag sort of thing. That's pretty good, but I don't want it the same width as the other one, so I just want to cut something a little narrower. Let's cut a 1-inch piece. Be a tag like that. Okay, so there's all the pieces for that one. All right, now let's decide on this one. It's a little easier because it's so much bigger. All right, so this one we'll probably do an insert and a tag. So let's cut a piece 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. there. Maybe 1, 2, or 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. Let's try that. Okay, that'll be good. Okay. All right, and then in here, I have this piece right here. Oops. Okay, that works. Okay, so that piece is 1 7/8 by 2 1/2. It's just a scrap. Here's another one. That'll work. This is 1 1/2 by 1 7/8, give or take. So that'll go in there. And let's see, I'm just reaching around to my desk to see what I have, because I have all kinds of little bits left. This is 1 1/2 by 2. That can go in there. And then let's cut a bigger one. That'll be, let's cut one 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Perfect. Okay. And then let's go back here. And I have this one. This is 1 5/8 by 1 3/4. Just tuck that in there. Just reaching around my desk, looking for scraps. Oh, you know what this is? This is the page that I decided not to use from the tiny book. I wonder if we could just make a little teeny booklet out of that and put it in there. Why not? Or maybe in the back cover. That's cute. Yeah, let's do that maybe. I have to do some gluing, but I think that would work. Let's see. And then we have this piece. How big is this? This is 1 1/2 by 2 1/2. That could go in there. Okay. And then, let's see. Let's cut this one 2 1/2. All right. So this would be 1 7/8 by 2 1/2. And again, you do not need to cut yours the same size. You see what I'm doing? I'm literally picking up just scraps from my desk. This one's 1 1/2 by 1 7/8. So I'll just tuck that in there. Okay, I think that's enough. Oh, you know what? We're probably going to want something else in with that. We don't want that to be by itself. Alright, let's cut one. I kind of want something tallish. So let's cut this one 2 3/4 tall by, I don't know how wide. We'll see. It's 2 3/4 by, let's start with 2. Let's see how that looks. Good. Okay, so 2 by 2 3/4. All right, so that's everything for that book. I know when I'm putting that aside, I'm definitely going to need it. So let's look at this little booklet thingy. So this is, remember at the beginning I said you might, to make 4 pages? And I ended up making 4, and then I decided I only wanted 3. So this is, you just make a 4th page from that size. So this is 4 by 4. Score it in half and in half. Cut one of the quadrants along the score line, just like you made your pages. Fold, fold. Okay, so in this case we don't need a side pocket insert of any kind. So what we need to do is actually just glue this all together, and then we'll have a little booklet. Okay. So so we're just going to glue the pieces that have the fold line here. Glue them together. Like that. And now we have just a little booklet. That we can mat and put in our back page, just like that. And then I had this little guy. They look cute there. We could put them there as a tuck spot. Why not? And then Stamperia has come out with die cuts, and I saw them after I had already made my last album, where we did quite a bit of fussy cutting. But if you can find the die cuts, you can pick them up and save yourself a lot of fussy cutting. I did order some just to see what they're like, since I have plenty of this paper left. So we'll see. All right, just put that like that. There we go. Good. And then we could make another, like throw a little piece in there. Like that. Okay, why not? And this is, again, just a scrap I just picked up from my desk. It is a little hair under 1.5 by a hair under 1 3/4. It's actually 1 5/8. Okay, there we go. All right. And I am not going to mat all these things on camera. You've seen me mat a million times. But I will, of course, have a walkthrough video, which you will have seen by now, because I'll show it first. And in that, you'll see those things matted. And then this one, if you remember, I didn't make a closure for it. You can if you want. But what I did is I have this piece of, it's just embroidery thread that I happen to have in my stash. You can use twine again if you have it. And just wrap, do a double wrap, and then tie it. Or even a triple if you've got enough. And then tie it. And you can tie it on the front, tie it on the back, you know, wherever you want to tie it. And it's tricky to tie such tiny little bows when you have clumsy fingers. Yikes. Okay, hang on. There we go. There's our little bow. And I have it slid down a little bit so it doesn't detract from our little fox. So, there we go. We are done. I just need to mat those things, and again, you're going to see that in the walkthrough, which you will have seen already. So thank you so much for joining me for these 2 teeny fun little projects to use up some scraps. I hope you had fun. Let me show you, I have another video. I actually have a couple of videos making these kind of tiny albums. Oh, I'm sorry, I just knocked the camera. There's this one that I did for Country Craft Creations Christmas in July project last year, and this one I made an ornament out of it, and that's a fun thing to do. Just poke a hole in the spine, put a little hanger on it, and be done with it. Use Christmas paper. And you could do this one. And then I think I have another one. If I remember, I will try to remember to post links. But anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll join me again for my next project. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, all those other fun things. It really helps the channel. And I certainly appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.